Welcome back, APUSH students. Today is Chapter 8 of the American Pageant, titled America Secedes from the Empire. If you don't have the American Pageant, it's fine because the content is still going to be the same. I'm going to be going over all the key terms and notes for this chapter that helped me get a 5, so I encourage you to take notes along as well. Second Continental Congress, a meeting of all 13 colonies in Philadelphia. It happened right after Lexington and Concord, remember the first battle of the American Revolution, and the discussions that took place at the Second Continental Congress led to the Americans adopting a real military strategy and a real military full of trained soldiers to fight the British. General George Washington, the George Washington, General of the Colonial Army. His skills in leadership and battle strategy helped the Continental Army win the war. He eventually became, of course, the first president. Battle of Bunker Hill, a battle at Breed's Hill in Boston where the Continental Army slaughtered many British soldiers, a big victory for the colonists. Following this battle, all hopes of reconciliation with Britain was lost, and this key colonial victory further influenced France to get involved by allying with the colonials. Olive Branch Petition, American petition declaring their loyalty to Britain. Britain rejected this petition, which officially marked the colonies to be in a state of rebellion. So basically, up until this point, the colonists were still hoping at some point of reconciliation with Britain, but when they rejected this petition, it was full-on war. There was no turning back from this point. Hessians were soldiers from other European countries helping Britain. The news of the British seeking help angered the colonists, who felt that this was between only them and the British. Many Hessian soldiers proved to be more interested in money rather than fighting, so a lot of them ended up actually just defecting and just living in the new colonies once they won the war, which was pretty funny. Common Sense, a pamphlet written to influence the colonists, one of the most famous pieces of writing, American writing ever. It was highly influential for convincing the colonists to strive for independence rather than reconciliation. Of course, Common Sense was written by Thomas Paine. Republican government, a form of government where officials are elected based on citizens' consent. It was one of the ideas that was promoted by Common Sense and became the founding ideal for the establishment of the United States. Virtuous citizens are people giving up personal greed for the good of the general population. This ideal is crucial for Republican government and inspired the citizens to establish a virtuous culture for the new country. Declaration of Independence, of course, an official document outlining reasons for independence from Great Britain. The document officially cemented the colonists' desire for independence, and the principles outlined in the writing became the basis of the future of the country. It also inspired further revolutions around the world, specifically the French Revolution. Loyalists, colonists loyal to Britain. They provided another battle for the Patriots along with the British Army. So not only did the Patriots have to fight, of course, the soldiers from Britain, but they had people within the colonies who did not support the revolution. Patriots were colonists loyal to the American rebels. Outright independence, Patriots were actually a minority. They had to not only fight the British Army, but they had to fight the uphill battle of getting more and more colonists on their side. Abigail Adams, John Adams' wife, an early women's rights activist, she wrote letters to her husband outlining the importance of women in the revolution and how they should be given more rights. These Abigail Adams letters, you might actually read a few of them in your classes. Battle of Saratoga, a key battle won by Americans in New York. This is a huge piece of evidence in any type of writing you're going to do. It was significant in reviving the American army and made it possible for the Americans to receive aid from France. So basically, one of the narratives that you'll learn in your classes is that this battle finally encouraged France to officially ally with the American rebels. Model Treaty, a treaty that restricted the Americans' relationship with France to purely commercial interests. It set a precedent in America that was revolutionary democratic that helped to ensure peace between nations. So this goes along with what you'll hear later at the end of George Washington's presidency, that they don't want to have alliances with other countries, just in terms of economic interests is okay, but not formal alliances. Joseph Brant, Mohawk chief who sided with the British. With the help of the British, his forces waged war against the frontier. Treaty of Fort Stanwix, treaty between American Indians and the United States in 1784. This was the result of the American Indian tribes siding with the British. They had to give up most of their land in defeat. So not only did the British lose, but the American Indians lost at the end of the war. Privateers legalized pirates who were sent out by the Americans to rob British ships. They were able to capture gold, disrupt British shipping lines, and raise the American morale by securing victories, so they caused some havoc in the Atlantic Ocean. They even forced British merchants to want the Parliament to actually end the war because of this. Yorktown, battle in Virginia, where the Americans and French defeated the British. The battle was a disaster for the British and was the first point where people started to think the British would lose the war. And that's a wrap. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next chapter, and goodbye.